Good day, everybody, and welcome to the Tyler Werner Show. How about that win by Villanova? Winning the NCAA tournament, college basketball championship. First time in over 30 years. And what a win it was for the Villanova Wildcats over North Carolina. I don't care what Villanova, basically representing the Philadelphia territory in college basketball. And, you got to give it up to them. I don't know why people would hate on them in the area. I don't know. You couldn't ask for really a better win and game, I guess, to end the NCAA tournament. As far as I'm concerned, I don't really get into the tournament like other people do as far as filling out brackets goes. And, it's just, following 64 teams or whatever, how can you realistically do that? And then, after the first round, everybody's bracket is pretty much shot anyways from what I hear. So it's like, I don't know why even do it in the first place. But anyhow, certainly I won't turn down a great basketball game like that was. And obviously credit to the Villanova Wildcats after that. Very impressive buzzer beater finish to win the NCAA tournament this year. Definitely an interesting game to recover from, I guess. Watch, we're kind of moving into, we have moved into the month of April here, and certainly that does mean NHL playoffs are on the horizon. And hopefully for the Philadelphia Flyers, that is, of course, too. Taking a tough loss tonight to the Detroit Red Wings, 3-0. Who, of course, a few weeks ago the Flyers had a big victory against, although the Red Wings have hung right there in the mix. And, we'll go over the playoff scenario just briefly here. Also, of course, we got the 2016 PGA Masters tournament coming up over the next several days. And, it's always it's, one of the biggest of golf events of the year, of course, if not the biggest. And, it's always a good watch for me. See the top golfers in the world, playing, as far as I'm concerned, and especially recent years. It typically comes down to an interesting down to the wire finish. Although last year, if I'm not mistaken, Jordan Spieth, he kind of had plenty of room to spare in his at just the age of 21, winning the Masters with a pretty comfortable cushion heading into the fourth day of it. So we'll see, but it should be an interesting watch over the course of the next several days heading in the weekend. But as far as the Flyers are concerned, 3 games left. All right, they lost to Detroit tonight, 3-0. Disappointing. I think it's a matter of whether or not they can hang on. Now, for a while, the case has been, it was kind of between, as far as that 8th wild card spot, it was kind of between Detroit and Philadelphia. Although now it's more like it's between Philadelphia and Boston in recent weeks. Well, the past week. Boston, their last 10 games, they're 2-7-1. So they've really started to fall apart, if you will, a little bit. While the Red Wings, on the other hand, they're 7-3 in their last 10. And, I've kind of turned things around a little bit. And currently, for those who don't know exactly how the playoffs work in the NHL since doing the new alignment a couple years ago, you got 3 teams from the Metropolitan Division, of course, and 3 teams from the Atlantic. The top 3, no matter what. And then the wild card can be the next remaining 2 with the highest amount of points, and that can be 2 can come from one division. And if the playoffs started today, well, it would have the Islanders and the Flyers. So there you go, both out of the same, Metropolitan Division. Now, as far as tiebreakers are, because here's the thing right now. Right here, after the Flyers fall to the Detroit Red Wings tonight, the Detroit Red Wings essentially, it's basically like this. Detroit has the 3rd seed in the Atlantic Division, and Boston, right now, they're 2 games behind Detroit. Detroit's in somewhat of a comfortable position right now, although, as a matter of fact, Boston and Detroit play each other tomorrow night. And that's a big game. If Detroit wins that game, Boston, they stay at 91 points with 1 game left to play against the Ottawa Senators. And at this point, it's probably best for the Flyers if Boston just, if Detroit beats Boston. Now, the Flyers, they do control their own destiny. They've played 1 less game than both Detroit and Boston. So here's the thing. Philadelphia, the Flyers, 91 points, along with Boston, 91 points. The Flyers have the Maple Leafs tomorrow, who they darn well better beat. Okay? I mean, pretty much the worst team in the NHL, nothing to play for. The Flyers better win that.
I agree.
The Flyers, that's 2 points right there. Then, of course, they got a day off. Then they got the Penguins. The Penguins, at this point, I mean, maybe they'll be resting some players. I don't know. It's still a rivalry game, though, and I wouldn't sell them short. And I mean, for crying out loud, they're 9-1 their last 10 games. Washington has the division locked up, but I guess Pittsburgh, Florida has the Atlantic locked up. I mean, pretty much the Penguins are locked in to the 3rd seed. So I don't know what they're going to do, but nevertheless, the Flyers have lost their last 2. I mean, they got, beat 6-2 by the Penguins. The Penguins are obviously for real, and they're the hottest team in the NHL over the last few weeks, and ride that momentum in the playoffs. Looking like a dangerous team that you don't want to be up against. But anyhow, I don't know. I mean, the Flyers, they're due to beat the Penguins again after losing to them 2 straight times kind of badly. So we'll see. At least maybe take it to overtime. I don't know. But after the Penguins, they close the season with the Islanders. I think, you obviously got to beat the Maple Leafs, and at the very least, you got to at least take one of those games against the division rivals to overtime. And even that, even that might not be enough at the end of the day. But the Flyers, they do sort of control their own destiny, as they're still 1 game less behind Detroit and the Bruins. Now, and this is what the Flyers, this is what Flyer fans, this is what we don't want. You don't want the Flyers to finish with the same amount of points as Boston or Detroit. Here's the thing. See what happens between Boston and Detroit tomorrow. If the Flyers, say there's a 3-way tie with points, the Flyers right now, the first tiebreaker is basically the greater number of games won, excluding games that are won in a shootout. And for those who, if you check standings, there's a column called the row column, the ROW, what have you, regulation plus overtime wins. And basically with the Flyers, as far as that is concerned, they have 36 right now. As far as that's concerned, 36. It's basically meaning they have 39 total wins. They won 3 in the shootout. Would you believe that? Three wins in a shootout. Of course, one of them not too long ago against the Washington Capitals. But anyhow, Boston has 37. And then you move over to Detroit. They have 39. So Detroit has the advantage there as far as tiebreakers are concerned. Right now, basically what you're looking at, say the Flyers and the okay, there's that tiebreaker. If the Flyers, now say the season's over and again, because Flyers 36 regulation plus overtime wins, Boston 37. Maybe that ties up. I don't know. If the Flyers and the Boston Bruins have the same amount of points. If that happens, then you go to number 2. The greater number of points earned in games between tied clubs. If 2 clubs are tied and have not played an equal number of home games against each other, points earned in the first game played in the city that had the extra game shall not be included. If more than 2 clubs are tied, the higher percentage of available points in games among those clubs, and not including any odd games, shall be used to determine the standing. All right, so that was that was a mouthful there to read.
Get some water.
So basically, that goes to essentially, well, how many times did the Flyers play against the Boston Bruins? Well, you know what? Let's take a look, because I wasn't aware that actually this could be a very realistic possibility, that the ROW column could be so close between the two teams. It's literally one game, and the Bruins have one of them, one over the Flyers right now as far as that's concerned. So let's take a look here as I type. Get up the games that the two have had against one another. If they will, let's see. Here we go. They're not in the same division, so they will not have played as many times as they, say division games. But here's the thing: they played 3 times this season. The Flyers on this would have been October 21st. Flyers win in overtime at Boston 5-4. Then Boston beat the Flyers 3-2 at Philadelphia. And the Flyers, they went a little out of order here, but 12 days before that, the Flyers won 3-2. This was at Philadelphia. All right, now, so the Flyers, they split, and then before all that, the Flyers won a game in overtime at Boston. So basically, let's reread this again. The greater number of points earned in games between the tied clubs. Now, as far as this is concerned, they played 3 games against each other. Flyers got 4 points out of them, and the Bruins got 3 with that one overtime loss. So there's no tie here, as far as that's concerned. So I would stand corrected. The Flyers would have the advantage there. That's only if, say, the Flyers have the same amount of points as Boston at the end of the season. But that might be very slim to none odds. That would mean that maybe Boston, they win another game in a shootout, and then they lose one, and the Flyers win one of their games remaining, and then lose the other two, and both Boston and the Flyers, say they both sit at 93 points, and then the Flyers would have 37 ROW. Yeah, again, it's very unlikely to happen that the ROW would be tied. But again, that's a very oddball chance there of that happening. But it just goes to show you how the odd tie-breaking scenario there, because the Flyers, number 2, have the advantage right now over Boston, while Boston in the first category has the advantage. So I don't know. But the point is, the Flyers, they control their own destiny. And more likely than not, Detroit is going to make the playoffs. And as far as the wild card goes, Boston probably at best wild card. Unless again, it could all change tomorrow, depending how the Boston-Detroit game goes. But Detroit's playing some better hockey as of late. And Boston, can't say the same about them for sure. They've been one of the weakest teams in their last 10 games. In fact, I'm scrolling through here, and 2-7-1. That's basically the worst in the last 10 games right now in the NHL. So I don't know. Talk about a time to have the bottom just fall out from your season, but nevertheless, that seems to be the case right now for the Bruins. I don't know. But, I mean, we'll see, I guess. But the Flyers, at the end of the day, they got to take care of business. They have an extra game here to spare. And as far as I'm concerned, the Flyers, they can't cough this up. They should make the playoffs. And if they don't, it's going to be a colossal disappointment in my eyes. I mean, they've been holding pretty steady onto that 8th wild card spot. At times they've been even like in the 7th place borderline range. I don't know, but again, it just comes back to the whole theory. It's like when you start looking great, that doesn't give you a right to go and gain 50 pounds or whatever, When you start dating a really hot girl, and it's that kind of thing. And the Flyers, they started to become a pretty decent hot team. I mean, their limitations have been shown against the Pittsburgh Penguins, for instance, but for the most part, a pretty solid team down the stretch here the last month. And again, at the end of the day, when it matters most, you can't be that team that or you can't be like that girl that just gains 50 pounds. You know what I mean? I don't know, but anyhow, that's that. We'll see. I mean, Flyers again tomorrow against the Maple Leafs. Then they got a day off, and then they have a back-to-back to close out the season. A little brutal, but still, hopefully they should be able to get it done. And we'll see. We'll see. And again, that would give them a date with the Washington Capitals. we'll get there when we get there as far as talking about that. But anyhow, for those who are, of course, interested, we got Masters Golf. That's exactly right. The 2016 Masters Golf Tournament is upon us. And according to CBS Sports, ladies and gentlemen, we have the ranking for the favorites. And I'll just go, I don't know, I guess I'll go from, we'll go top 5 here. Why not? Top 5 for, familiar names. Number 5, Rory McIlroy. Took 4th last year in the 2015 Masters Golf Tournament. Can Rory figure out the jigsaw puzzle that is Augusta National? It's encouraging that he's improved his finish here each of the last 3 years. It's not encouraging that he's been pumping double and triple bogeys all year, though. That'll end your dreams in a hurry at Augusta. Rory McIlroy kind of showing signs of bouncing back a little bit. Last year, he came on a little strong. Last couple years, actually. Kind of had a bit of a run of dominance, even at one point, but I don't know. Above him, we got number 4, Jordan Spieth, who, of course, won last year in 2015. Jordan Spieth, he's kind of the real deal right now in the golf world. Again, winning at 21 last year, and he just had quite an interesting year. Now, so far, he's been a little inconsistent thus far in the early going of the 2016 golf season. But you never know. Who knows? This could be where things start clicking a little bit here with the, for the majors for Jordan Spieth. The music shuts off a little bit, but anyhow, restart that. Adam Scott, number 3, who won the Masters in 2013. He was robbed at Riviera by the number 1 golfer on this list. I'll reveal shortly. Cost him a chance to win 3 straight tournaments earlier in the year. Now, boy, how about this little tidbit? He's made $50 million on this course, Augusta National, in his career. $50 million. Apparently has a big history at the Masters, as far as that's concerned.
He wants your money!
Yeah, he's making money, apparently, on this golf course. The worst thing that has ever happened to him might be the time a button popped off his green jacket. Apparently, I don't know. Anyways, number 2, Jason Day. Tied for 2nd in the tournament in 2011. And, he is always... Jason Day, he always seems to be right there in the mix in the Masters. And just never quite, gets the job done. He does have some kind of back injury too. I don't know, but we'll see. Maybe he is due for a win here. He's been in the mix, obviously, tied for 2nd in 2011, but he hasn't, gotten over the hump and won it. I guess. Now, number 1 on this list is a man who in the last, let's see, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the last 4 master tournaments, he's won 2 of them. And that's Bubba Watson, who, of course, he won it in 2012, and then he went on to win it in 2014. And I remember even talking about it on the Tyler Werner show a couple years ago. After Bubba Watson won it, 2nd time in 3 years that would have been. I remember his one kid he had on the final green in the 2020, and it was like a baby, or whatever. He couldn't walk yet, and then 2014, 2 years later, he wins it, and there's his kid's 2 years older, and he's walking around on the green, and I thought it was pretty cool, and a nice little lighthearted moment there. Bubba Watson with two Master tournament wins in the span of 3 years there. And who knows? Maybe the pattern will repeat itself. 2012, 2014, and then 2 years later, 2016, he takes the jacket at the Masters. Maybe. I don't know. But I'll tell you who's not going to be getting the jacket this year at the Masters. Or I'll tell you who's not even going to be playing at this year's Masters, and that is Tiger Woods.
Yesterday I did pull out.
Yeah, apparently it's that it's that blasted back injury that I guess it just continues to hamper Tiger Woods. USA Today has this article, and I quote the title here: Tiger Woods isn't playing in Masters, but still very much present. I mean, what? I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of people are, they're disappointed in golf that Tiger Woods isn't playing or whatever, and yada yada. And apparently this article, I guess, is no different. And just to quote it here, just to read through a little bit. Welcome to the Tiger-free Masters. For the second time in 3 years, Tiger Woods is missing this tournament. We probably should start getting used to this, but let's be honest, it's weird. Tiger is golf, or at least he was golf. Now he's the ghost of golf, the game's greatest player, whose back finally gave out. The cautionary tale now hovering over the first men's major of the year as the most important player who isn't here. He's missing, but he's still very much present. There isn't a news conference that goes by where his name doesn't come up. The praise showered upon him by the young men who grew up idolizing him. The same men who are now taking over the game from him is laudatory and enlightening. It's part press conference, part oral history. Tiger is gone, but he's definitely not forgotten. Having recently turned 40, he is unable to play due to his bad back, but definitely not anywhere close to retired. As I said, it's weird. And that's pretty much that. Oh, and Phil Mickelson was asked Tuesday afternoon if it seems strange to him when Tiger Woods misses a major tournament. And well, what did Mickelson have to say about that? Well, it's not like we shared a house together, so I don't notice it that way, Mickelson said with a laugh. No, then he grew serious. I think we all appreciate what he's done for the game of golf over the years. We all miss him and want him back. He's a big part of the game, even when he's not playing. So fortunately, I've heard from reports that he's going to be able to play this. I've heard from reports that he's going to be able to play this year, which is great. I guess just not this one. We would love to have him be here. The tour misses him. The game misses him. Hopefully he'll get back to his winning ways. Yeah, what does Phil Mickelson care about that? At the end of the day, I just think he's just, I guess saying the politically correct things or whatever to appease everybody. You think he really cares? What else? Tiger is like a Jeopardy answer here this week. He appears only in the form of a question. The youngsters speak about him in the past tense, one after another. Jason Day, Adam Scott, Rory McIlroy. yeah, I mean, that's pretty. At 35, Scott, the 2013 Masters champion, is closer to Tiger's age than Jason Dave's, yet he is still an integral part of the younger generation. Let's not leave out four-time major winner McIlroy, who, still only 26, found himself talking about the parity of today's game. It is much different than the years Tiger dominated from 97 to 2005 or 2007, he said. I don't know if we're going to see a 10-year stretch of golf like that in our lifetime. What he did in that span was amazing. To be sure, Woods isn't done yet, but he is missing what always is his best chance annually to win a major tournament by not being here this week. He came in for Masters champion dinner Tuesday evening. Tiger Woods, Masters dinner guest. Now that's a title that will take some getting used to. And the funny thing is, I guess the winner from the previous year, Jordan Spieth, is the guy that hosts it. And it looked like they had some southern barbecue. Looks like he had going on there, and
It was like sweet and sour pork, right?
And warm chocolate chip cookies and whatnot. Apparently a menu that got rave reviews. But anyway, all in all, Tiger Woods there or not, I don't care. At this point, in the golfing world, as far as winning major tournaments and just in general, he's a has-been in the golfing world. And I don't know what people out there, what you want. When you got Rory McIlroy, Jordan Spieth, Adam Scott, Ricky Fowler in the mix, Jason Day, Bubba Watson. What do we need? Just one guy? I don't know. What do we need? One guy dominating the sport? Just let it be. Let it be the way it is. And just let Tiger Woods rest his back and whatever and not play and have the tournament still be in the sport be fine without him. I don't know. That's my thoughts. But anyways, as far as my prediction as to who's going to win, I don't know. I remember last year, if I'm not mistaken, I took Jordan Spieth, if I wasn't mistaken, last year to win. I figured, he's been knocking on the door. I think he took second in 2014. No, I'm sorry, that wasn't him, but he was knocking on the door, and I remember taking him. I don't know. If I had to pick one here. Let's see. Maybe I need some music to think on this. I don't know. I'm just taking a shot in the dark here, really. I'm not trying to make a big scene out of this, but I don't know, just a random guy to pick, I guess, to root for. Maybe I'll ride Rory McIlroy. I don't know. If that sounds right. I know the whole Bubba Watson thing. 2012, 2014. Maybe that pattern's gonna repeat itself, and he's gonna win. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm gonna go with Rory McIlroy to win it here. I don't have a lot of confidence in myself, obviously, but you know what? At the end of the day, I don't mind that, because I'm fine with, kind of it being you got several guys here. Any one of them could win it. And one of them could take the jacket. And that just goes to the point I was just talking about a couple minutes ago. You know? I mean, it's fine if you have a guy naturally dominating the sport. That happens or whatever. But right now, in place of that, you have several guys playing at a very high level. The competition is better right now. And it pushes everybody more. I don't know. So you know what? I like that. I like that I don't have a clue here. And I'm just kind of drawing a little bit out of a hat. But nevertheless, I'm gonna ride the Englishman, Rory McIlroy. Took 4th last year in the tournament. We'll see how he fares this year. All right, so that's going to wrap it up here in the Tyler Werner Show. I think that's enough. Flyers lost. It's getting a little late. You know, I guess it's maybe time to, I don't know, wrap this up, get to bed at least for me, and and see how things pan out with the Masters tournament. Meanwhile, see how things pan out with the rest of the Flyers regular season. And next time we'll be here to recap the Masters tournament and recap these last 3 games of the Philadelphia Flyers regular season, and either talk about a disappointing end, a failed, down the stretch portion of the season here, falling flat on their face at the end of the season at the worst possible time and coming up short. Or we'll be talking about a Flyers wild card playoff series. I like to hope that it'll be the latter on that, with that in mind. So that in mind, thanks for tuning in right here in the Tyler Werner Show. And we'll talk to you next time. Facebook.com/Tyler Werner Show. Like it and stay tuned for more on the channel.
It's no big news flash that many people, you included, eat as a way to medicate themselves. You can choose to worry about it or not. You can choose to panic about your situation or not. It's clear what you must do in order to make important changes.
5 letters here. RELAX. Relax. We're going to be okay.
In order for you ever to effectively figure out and map how to get to where you want to go, you have to first know exactly where you are starting.
RELAX. Relax.
You have to be willing to change what you're doing. You can change your behavior.
Attention parents. Is your under 18-year-old daughter being cyberstalked by a man who identifies themselves as a grown adult male?
I want to meet you and fool around. Are you up to meeting tonight, hon? I think I would like to shower with you. We can do it in the shower, too.
If so, you need to contact Chris Hansen and Company to bust these online cyberstalkers.
How are you tonight? Why don't you have a seat there and get comfortable for that?
I guess you're going to tell me next that this is the very first time you've done something like this.
Chris Hansen and the Dateline crew will take care of it. Contact us, and we will put an end to the cyber-stalking that your daughter is experiencing.
Well, there's something you got to know. I am Chris Hansen with Dateline NBC, and we're doing a story on computer predators.
Busted!
Okay, Rocco, pretend I'm the girl that you want to ask out on a date.
How about maybe you and I, maybe we go out together, get something to eat, I don't know, maybe laugh a little bit, who knows, I don't know, would you like to maybe, you want me to go out together? What do you think? Would you like to?
You need to make more eye contact and you sound way too nervous.
You want to hear me say it? You want to break me down? All right, I'm afraid. For the first time in my life, I'm afraid.
Having a tough time asking out ladies? You need to see Clubber Lang for a lesson.
Hey, woman. Hey, woman. I bet you stay up late every night dreaming you had a real man, don't you? I tell you what, bring your pretty little self over to my apartment tonight. and I'll show you a real man.
Build confidence with the ladies like never before with Clubber Lang's dating services, the most highly recommended in all of the Delaware Valley.
I am ranked number one. One! That means I'm the best.